Welcome to Total Retail Talks, your podcast channel for retail knowledge.
Hello and welcome to episode 187 of Total Retail Talks. In today's episode, executive editor Joe Keenan sits down with Steve Pinder, the managing director of Kurt Salmon, part of Accenture Strategy. Listen in as they discuss the increasing influence of digital in the grocery space, what Amazon buying Whole Foods has meant for traditional retailers, and what grocers should be thinking about when considering click and collect programs. All recorded live at Grocery Shop 2018 in Las Vegas. And now on to the show.
Hi, I'm Joe Keenan of Total Retail. I am here at Grocery Shop in Las Vegas. I am joined by Steve Pinder, who is the managing director of Kurt Salmon, which is part of Accenture Strategy. Steve's going to be talking here at the show on a panel later this afternoon, and we just have a couple questions about that session. So thanks for joining me, Steve.
Thanks for having me.
So let's start by kind of one of the general themes of this show is just kind of the period of transformation that grocery is seeing right now. Where do you see, and what do you believe traditional grocers must do as the business transforms, becomes more digital, obviously, and more competition enters the market, and particularly online?
It's a great question, and I think one that's asked a lot at this show in particular. I think folks are coming to this show to find and test some answers across the spectrum of that question. The lens I would put on it is somewhat bifurcated. I would look at, the different types of grocers that are now competing in this space. Mm-hmm. So, for example, you have what I call kind of super regional grocers that have critical mass in a particular portion of the U.S. You've got national grocers that are spanning coast to coast. You've got some players that are specifically in the value space, and then you've got some digital native grocers. All of them coming at this from a very different perspective, and all of them coming at it from very different cost basis. Mm-hmm. And I think that one of the most fascinating things about this transformation compared to transformation within other categories, books, apparel, general merchandise, is that the pockets are very, very deep in this space, both for folks to try, experiment, and survive through a lot of different transformational starts and stops, but also for folks to innovate in truly meaningful ways. So what's going to be, I think, required that isn't often talked about? I think a lot of the kind of prescriptions are fairly well known at this mm-hmm. point. But I think one that's not often talked about is the reliance on partnerships and ecosystem partners. So a couple of major grocers out there have formed and announced and been public about alliances with other technology providers or ecosystem partners. The term frenemies is thrown around quite a bit these days based on kind of decision processes about who I partner with. But I think particularly if I go back to those segments, those super regional players, the value players, and some of even the national players, they don't necessarily have the infrastructure, the capital to build the infrastructure to compete. And so because they're either further behind in the evolution cycle, or the capital and infrastructure required is just almost insurmountable. Mm-hmm. So I think there's going to be a lot of, it could take the form of M&A, it could take the form of just strategic roles and partnerships. But I think that's going to be kind of one of the major bellwethers of transformation over the next few years. Yeah,
and I think a great example of that was on, I believe it was Sunday. Yeah, Sunday. Yael Cosset of Kroger was, spoke kind of directly about that. Kind of the different partnerships that that brand is kind of formed in the last year or so, and it's really kind of a testament to what you're just talking about.
That's right, and as I meet with CEOs of some of the smaller competitors of that particular brand. That's what I talk to them about, is where are you going to either go find the few $100 million up to $1 billion to invest in the capabilities, both technologically and then from a capital physical infrastructure to go compete, or where are you going to find the partners to go kind of create competitive advantage in that space. And it's a very different business model. It challenges kind of the culture and the heritage of this particular space, which was grow it organically, do it myself, that kind of mentality. So I think culturally organizations like that have to find ways to now evolve into how to construct partnerships, manage them, incent behavior in the similar directions, all those kind of things.
Yeah. So kind of an event that kind of, that kind of spun this industry on its axis was, about 18 months ago, Amazon's acquisition of Whole Foods. What has that done for the traditional grocers that you talked about? Even the regional grocers, the national grocers, in terms of increasing their urgency to kind of up their digital games, as now Amazon's become a competitor.
I have maybe a bit of a contrarian perspective on this relative to what I hear a lot. I think it's brought more press limelight to the industry and to the digital nature of the grocery space. But I think as I talk to grocers about their strategic agendas and their perspective, this issue has been on that docket for a while.
Radar, yeah.
Now, from how I talk to the investor community, how do I talk to my shareholders about it, that has created more anxiety, angst, and the need to kind of have a digital forward strategy in the public domain. But privately, a lot of these companies already had this on their horizon. The degree to which they believed in the growth of penetration is kind of arguable and different. Some folks believe the moat around them is deeper and wider than maybe we would agree with. But, I don't think that that announcement, outside of the public domain, privately, I don't think that really changed anything that wasn't already in play from a strategy agenda from the grocers that I work with.
Yep. So I mentioned you're speaking on a panel here at the show. You're going to talk specifically a little bit about click and collect. So let's dive into that a little bit. And so, what are your thoughts on how you believe that service will impact grocers' businesses going forward? And then kind of a second part to that is, it's easy to say, let's roll out, a click and collect program. There's a lot that goes into that, obviously. So what are some of the operational and technology challenges associated with a grocer that's kind of launching this, type of service for their customers for the first time?
Yeah, it's a great question. So I was just on in the audience for a few other panels that talk about kind of the operational efficiency of click and collect compared to home delivery, but it is still a far jump from traditional in-store shopping. Someone I think at another session referred to it as, it costs $15 to $18 to pick, pack, and deliver an order about that customers used to do on their own for you. So there is an economic kind of makeup there that has to happen. I think that from an options perspective, it is the most economically viable. But I like to think of customers like water. They find their way to the lowest point. Mm-hmm. And what that means, in my opinion, is they root out friction from the process. And whoever provides the most frictionless environment or the least painful kind of experience usually wins. So I think click and collect technologically and operationally does require a new set of skills and capabilities. There's a tremendous amount of experimentation already out there. So I think there's a lot of lessons learned that have already been ferreted out and vetted out for people to kind of take and bake into their playbook. But I think that, one of the reasons that we talk about it's actually finding a lot of traction with customers is because it's easier. It's easier to work on my schedule. If I can swing by the store on my schedule and not have to worry about something sitting out on the stoop in the sun, then that's really easy for me. I think the thing that's going to potentially kind of supplant and pass by, if we get there from a technology and a consumer, comfort level, is going to be delivered to fridge or delivered to pantry. Okay. So I encourage retailers as they imagine and construct the end-to-end consumer journey to truly kind of brutally think through the most easy and painless process, and deliver to fridge, deliver to pantry in a replenishment sort of mechanism is truly the easiest way to do it.
Thanks for listening. For more information on this podcast, please check out our podcast channel page at mytotalretail.com/podcasts. Total Retail Talks is available on Apple Podcasts, Google Play, Stitcher, TuneIn, and now on Spotify. Make sure to subscribe on our podcast channel page as well. If you've enjoyed this episode, please take a few moments to rate and review this podcast. Thanks, and until next time, this has been Total Retail Talks.